How's everyone doing today? Today is Sunday, March 7th, 2021. What a week. One thing I was mentioning all week to the folks who follow me is that we're going to have to experience, and if you're new, you need to start getting used to big, violent swings either way. And I am not going to cover the major markets that often. I will when I see fit, and a lot of that's just because I want to save that for folks who actually, take the time to go into what I want to do and really watch what I do on the Discord and stuff. And that's more of like my personal opinion, is that if you the YouTube's made for the watch list, you want to go farther, you can watch me there, and I'll talk about major markets with them. But there's 100, if not 1,000 people that YouTube who I even would support and being fantastic macro level people. If you are confused on why the market's doing what it's doing, you must go research that beyond my watch list. As I always say, I'm really good at what I do. Right, I'm probably top 5, top 1 in making swing day trader, day trader, but like folks who are at work, 9 to 5 people, watch lists, right? If you want to be safe and have good picks, I'm really good. But you need to go look elsewhere for macro level people if you are not in the Discord that I have, and you really need to start researching why QQQ is important, why SPY is important, why RUT is important, and those kinds of things. So if you're confused what's happening, make sure you do your research. With that being said, this channel is great, and it's dedicated to 3 people. First are people who are beginners. If you need help with technical analysis, if you are confused on how stocks go up, stocks go down, where they reverse at, I'm here for you. If you're an intermediate trader and you need to diversify, as I've said before multiple times, if you have bought 15, 20 stocks thinking you're diversifying, but they're on the tech sector, you just bought an ETF just separately. Congrats, you just wasted more time and energy to then get tanked at once. And if you have 2 or 3 stocks and your whole portfolio is out, there's no cash, making bad choices. I'm here to show you some great mid caps because RUT recently has been outperforming the S&P in my opinion. The QQQ, it's more volatile, but it's easier to read. So we call some good mid caps that will become small or become large caps eventually, and it's good for diversification. And the third people, I'm here for those who do the 9 to 5 trading. If you are busy during the day, if you need some safe picks, I'm here to help you, right? So if you need anything else, let me know, comment down below in the description. If you like this kind of content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. And again, if you really enjoy this kind of content, check out the Discord. It's just an addition to this. I'm not doing anything wildly different. It's just super in-depth picks over the picks that I have here. And I also do live updates during the day. I talk about larger, broader markets. I talk about my entry points, my exit points when applicable. Now, last week, I didn't have any entry or exit points. I didn't buy anything because I was like, ooh, I don't think this is the way it's looking. And I just stayed out of it, but I do live calls too. And then if you are so inclined, I do have a VIP section. I do educational conference calls with people. And for 30 minutes, I talk about educational stuff if they want to learn about certain types of things or want me to do anything. I don't do financial advice, I just do education, right? And you can take my stuff and apply it applicably and do really well with it. But again, the whole purpose is not for me to be your single financial advisor, which I'm not. I'm here for educational purposes. I extend, the humbleness and say that, hey, you should go watch other people too. I should be one person, one aspect of this whole journey for you. You should definitely go look at other people too, right? That's the whole point. You should have a whole foundation, and I should be a pillar of that foundation, not your only person. So that's great stuff. I'm excited. We have 9 great ones, I believe, for sure. There was a huge comeback, so to find good deals, given the price action, was a bit difficult, but I got some good ones. With that being said, let's check them out. So as always, above me, the one that says poop is our great one. We have 9 stocks on there. I believe I'm good at math. Yes, sir. 9 stocks on there. Some you may recognize, some you may not. I didn't do any scanning this week just because of how volatile it was. I want to see how it goes. So you may recognize most of these. That's fine. The whole purpose of a good stock trader is they kind of make a relationship with the stocks that they know. So I know May's over weeks, if not months. And then below it are some really good calls that have already made, or they're good intermediate plays, right? If you're a beginner, I always insist to watch the first 9 with the intention of maybe watch listing 1 or 2. And again, I'm not telling you to buy all of these. I would never say buy all these. I'm saying with the intention of watching 1 or 2 of these this week. And if you like it, watch this, buy it on your own terms. It's good stuff. And then intermediate traders, if you want to buy extra or watch all of these, you can. Beginners, this could be educational for you, these down here. But again, when we get to that section, do not plan on buying these if you're new, just because they are a little more difficult to read. So with that being said, let's get into it. Our first is ARCT. What's beautiful about it is this horizontal channel. And now I've called it multiple times. I called it over here, and then I called it on the intermediate list over here. Like, this is a good area to drop into. The only thing you should notice is that to think that we're out of the storm yet with any of these stocks is laughable, honestly. We're definitely looking better than we were on Monday last week with the stimulus getting passed and all that. But to think that these stocks can't collapse farther, it's going to be all green from here is, again, foolish. This stock is still having earnings and it's still coming down. And again, I don't insist on trying to catch falling knives. And again, I would wait a day or two. It does have a history of consolidating at the POC. And where are we? The POC. This right here is the highest area of volume. You can see multiple times. This right over here, good job cutting it off, took 17 days. This right here, this whole area took 16 days. This whole area took about 8. This one took about 5, right? So we can see that over here, we're in day, right here, day 2. So you have 4, 5 days to really consider which way it's going to go. And I guess the best part that you should know is that if this does dip, it should come back. You can see historically, not really relevant to our conversation over here, but over here, it has a really good chance of hitting this trend line area at worst and coming back. Now that is in fact 16% away. That's why we use stop losses, right? Then last week should have been evidence of, hey, what I should start using? Stop losses. So it's looking really good. This value over here, we can kind of zoom in more. You can see a great value over here. Most volume doesn't get beneath this area. That's why it came back super quickly. And so maybe you're risking, 5 or 6% down here. And again, the POC should pull it up at least a little bit. But even on a modest move, all right, to first resistance is 16% away. And that is a resistance that's a strong one. There's definitely smaller ones in the way near the POC. But to think that if you can catch this, at the right time, it's showing red. Let's wait for some green, right? If we see a nice green morning and the features look good, it could be a good pick. It can run up easily 5 or 6%. Easy day trade. A full move can bar you 100%, 60%. I mean, the ceiling is super high. The floor is pretty low. And again, it is earning. So again, let's take our time. Let's let the market show us its hand. Let's see what ARCT has in stock. It's a therapeutics company, so we know that FDA approvals may be at play, and you need to research that. Let's check the indicators. So what's super dope about my channels, I actually don't scan or use indicators while I'm trying to find the stocks. I use strictly price action, and I then look at the live with you, so you can see what I see. That's pretty great. So both EMA lines will be resistances moving forward. Would it be smart to wait for a cross? Sure. If you are a kind of guy or girl who wants to wait for it to cross above the 50 at least to show life, well, then you can just wait. Again, watch this show. You can put this on your watch list. You can put an alert at like $55, $54, and when it comes above it, you should probably know it's above the 50 and you're good to go. Every single time it crosses above the 50 and the 200, you've made money. And this is like, oh, that's not that big of a move. When it crossed above both here, that was 22%. This one over here was 31. This one was a day one, but you would have made 16%. So if you're going to wait for it to do that, not a bad idea. I'm the kind of guy who's more conservative in my setups, so I even that out with being aggressive in my purchasing. And again, that's my personal preference. If you want to be conservative in purchasing and conservative in setups, you're going to wait for that. The 50 EMA, again, getting close. RSI is oversold. It would make money every single time if you got lucky. Now over here, you would have gotten off a good bounce, but this has been one big downtrend. Over here, would have made money. Would have made money. So it's a good setup. It does go from oversold to overbought, right? Oversold to overbought, oversold to overbought. So it has that comeback king-like pattern some folks enjoy. You technically could hold it to overbought, but this thing does crash off a cliff. Overbought may be over here in the 35. The thing takes down over here and then comes back. This may be overbought. So you got to be careful of that. You shouldn't buy a stock based off RSI alone. Stochastic goes low, and it's curling north. We want to see that. You got to have some life. And Vortex bottomed out, and it's curling up. So again, a 10 out of 10 minus the earnings. If the earnings were positive, or if the earnings were like over here, yeah, okay, we could probably be better. So give it a day or two. Let's not rush into it. Given the week's broadcast looks better, you should be more bullish on buying it. But again, let's give it a day or two if you want to buy it. And again, just watch this different out if you're a beginner. Next is AUPH. This is a huge pharma play, and you should know all about AUPH before you buy it. Go research it. It definitely had a massive spike, and now it's back down here. Now again, the good news is this is a great area of value. We can zoom out and see everything prior to here it's no longer that relevant, obviously, but even over here, you can see that it had a very strong support area around here, right? You could have bought in here, and then you could have bought in here. So like, it definitely has good levels to it. And over here, the same thing's almost applying, right? It's getting really good horizontal levels. Some stocks really, like trend lines, like Forex, really do go off trend lines a lot harder. But this stock in particular is a very horizontal stock on the macro scale, which is really cool. So it just broke down where volume is, so there's not much volume down here. So if you want to look at it like this, and this is a good example I like to talk about with some people, just given this right here, would you be confident in shorting a stock right here? Probably not, right? I don't think most folks would be like, oh, good chance to short this bad boy. If news came out, oh yeah, that's different. But would you short a stock up here? Yeah, most likely. So all low volume over here is most likely going to be bulls buying in, right? And then your bears will sell off. So that's a great sign of the volume lines right here. Easily can make 2 or 3%, which, that's not a lot, but that's your first major resistance. You break above that in the POC, we're talking the 8, 9, 10% range. And again, you could easily get a full move of like 25. But again, in this type of market, we're still downtrending, so we would definitely want to be more conservative with price targets, and I would definitely be confident taking profits at $14, $15 if it gets a nice spike, and that's a great move, right? 8% you're risking. If you're going to look at your reward, if you're risking anything below the support, okay, 3%. So you got a 1-to-1 to your first resistance, but then again, you're definitely looking like you're going to make some good moves here. So AUPH, a great pickup price action-wise. Let's check the indicators. So both EMA lines are going to be resistances moving forward. Again, I look for convergence. This only has the convergence of a support area, and the indicators look good. So if you want to wait for it getting above the 50, not a bad idea at all. It seems I have no issue getting above it either. We can look kind of historically here. I'm going to just doop and come down. It has no really problem getting above it. Now holding it's a different story. So if you can get above the 50, you may hit the 200. So you can do 3% extra profits. So both of these are going to be resistances moving forward, and they're pretty far away, so it's not going to be a big deal for now. It is oversold. Every time it was oversold, you would have made at least some money in the short term, so that's a good indication of a bounce. Vortex was dummy low and it's showing life, and again, we definitely have some room to run up, but I think a pullback may be inevitable given how hard it's coming up, but every stock kind of looks like this right now. Vortex is super low and has a lot of room to run. So AUPH, a great one to watch list and watch this week. Again, you must do your own due diligence and see what AUPH is doing. It's big. It's big because of the vaccines and the COVID and its own thing. So make sure you do your own research, but AUPH is a great pickup. Next is DDOG, and this is kind of the whole beauty behind convergence and what I always push with building a relationship with your stocks and what tickers you like, because if you want to be Mr. Gun-Ho, I'm great about everything, and do 20 different things and try to juggle that, great. But I like to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again and get really good at it. My phone. We can see that we had a beautiful trend line here. Like, this was gorgeous, right? And we're like, oh, it's making possibly an ascending triangle. Maybe it's making a wedge. We don't know, we don't really know quite yet what's making right here, right? And so we're watching, but we charted it the first time correctly. We had our volume lines. We knew that this was a horizontal play. Overall, it crashed through it. As soon as that trend line broke, we erased it. It's over. It's done. It's gone. And now we've been waiting, and now here we are right at the bottom. So we maybe would have lost if we would have bought in, 2 or 3%, but now we can make back 2 or 3% even before our first resistance line. So that's the beauty of actually charting and watching the same stocks over and over again. So really good value here. Is there a trend line? No, nothing really lines up fairly well. Like, this is going to be way too aggressively high, right? So there's no trend line. It's just a really good value. Worst case, it breaks down. You lose 3.5%, maybe 4%. I would definitely cut around the volume line if I wanted to. And then that way, if it comes back, I just buy back in, right? I'll put 5%, 10% of my, capital in this one if I wanted to. Then if I lose 2% or 5%, okay. Am I going to lose sleep? No. Is the wife calling? No. It's no big deal. This does have a history of consolidating down here. See how long it took? 7 days, and then you would have gotten a good 10% move. Down here, it would have taken you about 7 days and would have gotten a big move. So we're looking at about, 7, 6, 5 with the weekend. So we've been down here for about 3 days. So again, you have till maybe Tuesday or Wednesday to see some real life. And again, with the stimulus and all that kind of thing, the good news that we can't tell which way it's going to go. If it does make a really good move, you may want to get out at 10%, 8%, and then buy back in when it drops back down. So again, really good channel here forming, great value. Let's check the indicators. So off the bat, my eyes are immediately drawn to the RSI and how it goes from oversold to overbought fairly often. But you can't really trust RSI when it dips so many times and it would have taken your money multiple times. So you would have made money on most of these. And again, like over here, you'd be like, oh, I'm good off the 200. Well, with the smart stop loss and the 200 would have broken, you would have been like, oh, I'm out. So this is definitely a great value. And again, RSI is good. It's just that it's not been the most reliable. But you can see oversold, overbought fairly often. That's a great sign. Both of these are going to be resistances moving forward. If you want to wait for a 50 cross, you can. It has no problem crossing the 50, it looks like. It has a few times it gets above it. And again, the 200 is going to take a few weeks to get down here, so let's not wait for a crossover. Stock is low but showing life. Vortex has not been much lower than this, and it's showing life. So DDOG a 10 out of 10, minus the fact I have no trend line. But again, with the huge sell-off, are we really going to see channel up surviving or a same triangle surviving last week? Probably not. So we have to kind of switch up our strategy. And we're going to need to look for plays in the pharma, therapeutics, financial, transportation sectors, and this is a great one for that, right? DDOG, great value, great reward. I like it a lot. Next is DKNG DraftKings. This, again, is a beautiful channel up. And again, we need to be very careful with risk reward. I'm a big fan of it long term. This is a great long term stock. But as of right now, we're looking at about 5%, 6% risk to take it, and about 5, 6, 7, maybe 10% as reward. So again, if you're very bullish on the future of online gambling, yeah, DKNG needs to be one that you're watching to buy a dip on. And this was a huge dip because of earnings. It didn't do well. So I ran up to earnings. It's like, oh, here we go. And then it's like, we actually lost money. Shit, and plummeted. So is this over yet? I don't know. I can't say yes or no either way. I can say that historically, this month of earnings has been a real kick in the dick. Like, it's not been good for a lot of stocks. So I would not rush into buying DKNG. There's a good chance, with a little bit more hype, that it's going to rebound well. It is making what looks like to be almost like a broadening wedge, like right there, boom, right there, that peak. So what you can do is you have to make the same move, the same trend line from the same area. So I'm going to take this one and come up, and we can see that almost is making a perfect broadening wedge, like a microphone. These shapes, like that, these do not last forever. And then what that implies is not that the trend line at the bottom is going to last forever. I'm saying that the resistance line is impossible. There's no way that DKNG at this rate of growth and like with its earnings being negative, there's no way you're going to be up here hitting 80s, right? Not off this trend line. This is not going to happen. That's 40%. It's irrational. Now, will it possibly do this and then eventually hit 80? Yeah, sure. But so the pattern's not there. It's just a great value, a really good trend line for a really bullish stock that has a lot of bright history with the gambling news. Do I expect it to come down? Yeah, probably. I can see it probably dipping down. If we can get around $57, A1. Great pickup for a future investment for sure. But I would give it a day or two, see what it's going to do. If it takes off tomorrow, I would not get lost in the sauce and get the FOMO. I would just look elsewhere. But if we see a pullback tomorrow on DKNG, a great pickup. Let's check the indicators. Once again, looking at the RSI, my eyes are a bit concerned with the overbought constantly, which again shows it's overhyped. And so it kind of makes the RSI worthless to me, as in on these uptrends, I would definitely cut out anything before here. Anything on this side of RSI to me is absolutely worthless just because it's not the same market setup. So over here, it got oversold once and then it got close a few times. So again, I want to see a small pullback before I buy in based off the RSI alone, which again, you don't buy stocks off that alone. But if that's your thing, you should wait. The 200 is going to be the best thing you could go off of, and that's now going to be my stop loss if I were to buy in. That breaks and holds. It matters where candles end, not the wicks as much. Now that could be stressful, right? But like if we see a candle wick below it, I would cut it. If I saw life, I'd just buy it back in. And again, some folks hate that. It is what it is. So if you want to wait for a 50 crossover, that's not bad an idea either. Stock is dummy low. Vortex is dummy low. Again, a 10 out of 10 minus the fact that I wish it was $2 cheaper. And again, $2 on the stock right? You drop down $2, you can see it's about what? Yeah, 3%, 2%. Is it that big of a deal? No, not for a long-term play, but again, you gotta be careful. DKNG is a great pickup though. FIVN, and again, it's important for you to find your best and favorite trend lines. There's plenty in here. This is definitely a strong support area. I like to duplicate my lines and bring them up, and you can see that this right here lines up very well with these two, and I like that a lot. And you could also activate this bad boy and come down and see that a lot of this price action makes it kind of like a channel. Now, is it a perfect one? No, so I wouldn't put a massive emphasis into this. You can come over here, you can kind of try and draw some lines. See, nothing really lines up that well, but that right there, looking real noise. So it's a really good ascending trend line in some way, shape, or form. It survived. It had earnings. It shit the bed, and now we're right here. And again, this is a great risk versus reward play. Do you want to wait for it to come back down and tap here? You can. Is it going to? I don't think so. Is it going to consolidate for a few days and take off? Probably. I think FIVN has plenty of upward potential, easily 7-9%. But you may be like, that's not a lot. Yeah, but if you risk the support line, you're going to lose 2%, and you always buy back in. So super good risk versus reward. Earnings actually made money, and it lost again, because that's just how this whole week went. So a really good area of support, really good trend line. I like it a lot. Let's check the indicators. So it just broke the 200. Should that concern you? Yeah, it should. Now, the EMA, this is a misconception. The EMA lines are just another indicator. If I were to be a fan of like the 300-day or some Fibonacci folks like the 89, whatever it may be, if that looks bad to me, sure. But there's definitely somebody who sees an EMA line that's like down here that looks fine. So again, take it with a grain of salt. It's not, EMA line should be used equally as any other indicator, right? It's just showing a trend. Would you wait for it to cross the 200? Sure. If you want to wait for it to get above that, that's a great sign of strength, and I would not be against that. But again, if you get above the 200, you must reassess risk. And you would not want to use these two lines then as risk. If you're up here, then we're talking, you're going to be risking about 8%, and that's dumb. You would have to use this EMA line and then use your support and be like, okay, I think this is now going to be my support area, which is a very valid area, and then you need to move that up. Waiting for all of it to cross over may take too much time. RSI could be a dash lower, but we want to hold price action. Price action is king, and if we can hold the support area, yeah, 32.80 is still very low. Stocks dumb low, Vortex dumb low, both point north. Again, a great setup. If we see some green tomorrow, definitely go long on it. If you are inclined to do so, you may see some really good profits off this. FIVN, I like it a lot. GRNQ may be a bit concerning looking to some people, but again, if you're worried about those red, dry, and drop-offs, well, those happen after what? A massive green spike. And again, if we can catch one of these, even a baby one, this little one was 30%, if we can catch one of these little baby moves, that's kind of the goal of this whole entire play right here. It's a bit more risky. So if you're a beginner trader, I would not be like, hell yeah, I'm going to go balls deep into GR and Q, let's go. It's a lot like Jill, which I've been calling for a while, and just put on some people's radar and like, hey, Jill's really cool. Jill's a very similar setup. I would definitely be buying Jill around the $4 range myself. GR and Q I'm not as familiar with, but we have our lowest volume area. It's showing life. It has a history of consolidating, so I'm going to wait personally until it gets to the 169, the 170 range. If I can get back down into here, yeah, I'm gonna grip and rip it for sure. But for now, I'm gonna give it a day or two myself. If it does have a huge spike, I will miss out on that. I'm cool with that. Getting my own risk tolerance policy. But as soon as we can get above $2 and then it comes down and retest that, then you can go along and have a smart stop loss. This definitely will lose you more money on a bad day, but will make you way more money on a good day than most stocks. So again, you could easily see 20, 30, 40%, but you lose 5 or 6. So again, it's an uptrending stock. It's still going up really nicely. It has huge spikes. It's really a great penny stock, but again, I am more conservative, so I'll personally wait, but for you, it could be great. Let's check the indicators. And you should always take your time on these. We can see that the big spikes happen when what happens? It gets above both the 200 and the 50, literally every time. So at this case, is that going to happen? I don't think so. This one was a rarity. It was beneath both of them. But again, it took off, and that's weird. So that's going to be your signal for a big one when it gets above both of them. You can see over here, this was almost what? 60 days with only a few big ones. So again, you're going to need to probably have a not 9 to 5 job in front of the computer to really take advantage of this one. But, I'd wait maybe a few days, see what it's going to do. RSI is low, stock is low, Vortex. Again, it's a 10 out of 10 on the setup if it was a bit cheaper or email lines were closer. So I would wait on it, but G, R, and Q could be huge. Next is KNDI. We actually played this fairly well. We called it over here, and we actually wrote up this trend line super beautifully a few times. And when it broke, we're all like, let's get out. It's over. It's done. Great bounce off the support. Now, I wish in a perfect world I would have been like, let's all buy a KNDI right now. Woo! But like, to catch this would be almost impossible. So again, I'd definitely be remiss not to like move my support up and be like, okay, this is definitely a support area as well right there. See that? Doop, doop, doop. So now we have this. If this does break everything, 4 or 5%, 6 or 7 if you're confident. Not a great look. But again, it does consolidate a few days down here. And it, over here it took almost 26 days. And this one took only 3. This one took only 2. So we're kind of priming up here for a big move at least. It's a great value for sure. I like it for a penny stock. It has plenty of room to run up. They can make some huge moves. I think a long-term hold would be a good one for this. Looking back historically, because it's cheaper, it has lower lows. So we're not going to fall in love with this one. KNDI is not the one to be like, it can't get any lower, it's perfect. No, it's seen $3, it's even seen $2. So we're not going to get in love with this. If KNDI does forever, it comes down to 582, then we'll fall in love with it. Right now, it's a good support area. Let's see what it's going to do. Let's not get overly invested or get emotional, right? This is a good bounce, but again, it has had lower lows, so let's not get so invested. Let's check the indicators. So the RSI is nice looking. Now over here, you would have made money eventually, but you would have been burned on the RSI alone. Over here, you would have made some money, but again, would have been burned in the long term. Over here, we made money, and again, you would have been burned. So I'm not sold on RSI. The 200 and the 50 are far away. You could wait for a crossover to show life, but then your risk is open. And then I talked about earlier, you must reassess your supports. Stochastic is showing some life, which we need to hold price action. But again, we'll see a pullback. Vortex is low. Has plenty of room to run up. So again, 8 out of 10. Week 9 out of 10. It looks pretty good. I'm not quite sold yet. I want to see some life first. And again, we could also see earnings coming. Yeah, with that being said, give Candy a week. It's a good setup. Watch list it, but let's give it a week. So I don't know who did it. I suggest you come forward now because whoever destroyed PSNL for me is dead to me. This thing, and again, I'll just even turn on the 200 email line. I mean, bouncy, bounce, for almost 7 months. It was just having the greatest time of it. We were just, me and him, just hand in hand, going through the field, touching all the flowers like the end of Gladiator. Great 2000 movie, Russell Crowe, what's up? Just having a good time, and now it's ruined. But here we are. So the earnings call came in, it wasn't good, and we're at a support area. Is this definitely still downtrending? Hell yeah. But given the stimulus news, I think it may bounce here. If it does bounce here, this is a great place to buy. PSNL, you can see a huge bounce. Am I convinced it's going to bounce? Not quite yet, just because of the POC. The POC is gravitational. You may see it come down and hit around $20.94. Maybe you'll get around the $19, $20 range of the Billy Mays $19.99 range here. If that's the case, then we can definitely go all in. Given the price structure here, even if it's green tomorrow, I'll put half. I would personally put half of what I would usually put in a stock into this. Usually it's $500 or $1,000. I would probably do $250 personally. That way, if it does tank, okay, I lost half of what I usually put of 10%. I'm not that upset about it. And then if it does come down, I would just put the other half in, or I'd cut my losses and put another half in. And when it breaks above this resistance, I'd probably be more inclined to put the rest of it in. Right? That's just my personal approach for these kind of stocks. So good support area. There's probably a trend line somewhere. I'm not going to try and force it. And again, it's really a strong one. I like it a lot. Let's check the indicators. So before I would have said, oh, we bounced the 200 and then it died. And now, Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On just plays in my head whenever I see this. And that's okay. The Dawson's Creek theme song, I don't want to wait. Well, I have to. So I have to see if it's going to come down You want to wait for 50 across, you certainly can. It does respect and bounce off it highly, but it also may bounce off it and not get above it. So this is a great value play. We're not looking for the 50 here. RSI is dummy low. You would have made money. Would have made money off a bounce. So again, it does have a good RSI history. It's not great. Stock is dummy low and it's curling up. The vortex has not been lower. So we need to see some life. And do I think I'll see some life? Yes. Am I sold yet? No, because it's just the support. So let's see what it's going to do. But PSNL moving forward is a great pickup. So our last of our good ones for beginners is SMAR. Now I am again biased. I am emotional about SMAR because I found SMAR over here and I was like, oh, what's the ascending triangle, baby? And played it almost perfectly and I caught this whole move and I was like, let's go. So I'm a very biased individual and I will admit that. But this is a very strong support area. Now again, you could be like, the support's actually down here. Sure, that's a very valid conversation. Given risk versus reward, I'm a little bit more bold to move it up to then say if it breaks it, I'm more on a high alert to sell. These are our price targets. Again, my Discord chat gets these. This was on my list last week, so I didn't take them off. You're welcome. So if it gets down here, you want to sell it. This is our loading zone. Price target, 5, 6, 7%. We've lowered them. We've lowered them given the price, given the current market, right? Usually the price target will be up here and our moonshot's up here. But given the market structure, you can get 6% in this market, even on a bull run. You want to secure those profits, right? Lock it up. Ain't no one gone broke securing profits. So that's not bad. Great support, great trend line. Let's check the indicators. I'm sure they will give us a full story. So the 200 broke. It's like PSNL. Would you want to wait for it to get back above it? Sure. If you are, again, more of a 9-to-5 guy or a woman, you have a job, you can't watch it. You want to wait for it to get above the 200 and then go long? Hell yeah. Not a bad choice. Right? But for me, I'm a guy who likes to buy value. I can't watch my stocks this year, so I'm going to watch them, and I don't mind buying. The RSI is very, very strong on telling when it's oversold. Now, again, over here, you're like, well, you didn't make money. Well, it went up 7%. You would have broken even, worst case. So, again, being over here, being oversold, it's not the same shape. So, take that into consideration. It was over here. But, it's taking its time. It makes bowl shapes. It's taking its time. If we can bowl out of this, we're good to go. Stochastic is low. Vortex is low. Plenty of room to run up. 10 out of 10 play. I like it a lot. Make sure you know what Smart Sheet Inc. Com CLA does. But overall, SMAR, a great beginner pickup. So there are your beginner plays. Again, if you're a beginner, hi, welcome. But again, you do not want to proceed into the next, what looks like 9 stocks. So I'm good at math. 8 looks like. The next 8 or 9 stocks with the intention of buying them, unless you do extra research. Again, these are for intermediate traders, folks who've been a year, 2, 5, whatever it is, who are more seasoned, who I can trust, or I know well enough to think, yeah, they can make the right decision for them. Otherwise, intermediate traders, let's check it out. So if you're new here, new kid, you'll see I don't turn off the indicators during our intermediate session because, again, I trust an intermediate trader to go and look up BLL themselves, do all their own stuff, and they'll be just fine. So BLL is in a downtrend. But again, this downtrend is partnered with a very strong support area. And so being at the bottom of the downtrend to the top is an easy 7%. Now again, am I convinced that it's over? No. Do these trend lines line up very well though? Yes. But again, one could also argue, well, this is actually the new downtrend, right? What if it starts here? Well, then we're not there yet. What if it's actually like this and it already broke, right? And we're just kind of, I don't know. We can't tell. It's definitely downtrending. It broke both EMA lines. And so it's oversold. It's good. But again, it's downtrending. So I don't usually advocate for a beginner, even an intermediate trader, to be like, no, I left to buy. Stocks that are dying. Like, why would you do that? But again, if you want to get a good deal, if you like these kind of setups, you see something that I don't see, BLL is a good setup. It's just not for a beginner. So CHGG is always going to be a strong candidate for a good comeback play. Run up, run down, run up, run down, run up, run down. Now, if we can get at the bottom of a run up, that's a great setup. And again, this thing has great technicals. It has a great business model. Focus of online shopping. CHGG's right there for you. Right, it's oversold. It's showing a little bit of life. Stochastic is getting a little bit exhausted because this was a 6% move. Everything is going to have this kind of shape, right? Every stock that has any kind of life, from Friday sell-off to buying back in, it's going to have a weird-looking stochastic. It may have a pullback, but let's not freak out. The stochastic or the vortex is dummy low with plenty of room to run up. So again, I think the price target on CHGG was like 120, 130, if I remember correctly. You have plenty of room to hit that over the next year. You can easily see 20, 30%. You can even see our price target is really close. So you can buy in here and hit the next 7, 8, 9, 10%. You get in, get out your money. You're good to go. So CHGG, again, higher than you'd want. You want to buy them back over here. But I think given CHGG's trajectory, it's on the upswing still. It's a good purchase if you like it. EVBG, which is a great name for a stock here. It's like the BGs. I love it. It's a good strong support here. Now the issue is it's above that by a good chunky chunk. We can come over here and we can see that it is above the support by a good 4 or 5%. And it's wicking, so I'm not taking too much into it. But look at this. Look at the reversals, right? Oh, bowl shaped. Oh, took its sweet time. Took its sweet time. Took its sweet time. And we get one green boy, one nice size, maybe like a bullish engulfing, or maybe we get like some really nice strong price action. That'll be great. Then we hold it once it breaks about the 200. That's going to be your buy signal. This resistance, dab, should turn to your new support, and then that's going to be your risk. Again, that'll be 4% again, but that's going to be more clear for you. Indicators, it's low, vortex low, it's all low. Again, it's a good pickup for a beginner, a little bit risky for an intermediate trader to wait for that 200 cross. I like it a lot. IAEE, yeah, look at this. It did in fact give it a gap. See that gap right there? If you watch my channel, you know I like to say nice and slowly and tenderly my ASMR voice. Gaps like to get filled. So if we see a gappy gap happening, it wants to get filled. So down here, you can see at least 1.5% to hit that. Is that some big price target? No, you shouldn't be like, hell yeah, brother, made 1.5%. But it's bouncing up to 50 like a freaking champ. So if it comes down here, it breaks above the 50 and holds, yeah, it should be a really good long-term hold. Make 4 or 5 easy percent, really pad some stats as it goes up, easily gonna roll. It's a bit high up there, so again, if you're an intermediate trader, I trust you. Otherwise, beginners, you should look out for 50 EMA balances. It looks pretty good for educational purposes. NBEV, one of our rare big wins last week. This is an X-ray, did really well. X-ray did really well last week. Boop. And so did IRWD. Boop. So we actually called some winners last week, even amongst the mayhem, which is shocking, honestly, even for me. The price target is stayed the same. The buy-in is still the same. It hasn't moved. You just got in here, you would have made it easy 30%, which, shocking, again. And we have plenty of room to run up. So again, the same exact technicals apply, strong support. There's probably a trend line in here somewhere. It needs to break above the 50 and the 200, really show strength, but a great value play. Worst case, Ontario, you lose 4 or 5%, aim for 15. Not a bad pickup at all. Long story short, Papa No like hype stocks. Now, I was actually watching Plug over here for a while, and then right here, I missed it. Me. Did not buy in. I'm dumb. And it took off, and it would have been great. It's like me buying Ride at $3. Like, you just get lucky. Okay, there's some times when you don't have no idea what's happening, and it just takes off on you. That happened to me. Now, this is a very strong support area. Okay? This is very strong. Now, let's look at NIO real quick. NIO I did call over here. And it tanked, and now it's back up here. Am I saying I'm some genius? No. Did I get this? No. I'm saying that right here, when I was looking at it, this is a very strong support area. What did it do? It shit the bed. Can Plug also shit the bed? It certainly can. These are not hype-proof. These are not fail-proof. So I'm definitely not super excited about it. Now, if it does break above these EMA lines eventually and goes long, yeah, it's great, right? But if you like to play a nice hype stock, if you like it, it's a really good value. This trend line is super obvious when you turn off the indicators. Super obvious. It bounces off this quite a lot, and that's right there. So again, you need to risk more to make more, and you always have to risk it for the biscuit in some aspect. Danny's favorite. So I would definitely consider this a good pickup for a hype stock, but again, if you're a beginner, get the hell away from this. Don't touch this. Don't touch this. Don't touch NIO. Don't touch CCIV. No, bad. Don't touch. So RVP is a great pickup. Again, this was a different trend line we're watching, and it broke. And I say it occasionally. I say it a lot in the Discord. When strong supports or strong resistances get broken, you must reset trend lines. If you go back and watch when RVP was called earlier in this month, it was a whole different looking chart. It's broken, we're resetting it. And again, that is the key to long-term success, is when you can admit this shit broke, positive or negatively, and now I need to reset it. You could also use that with EMA lines. When the 200 EMA line breaks, you could realistically trash everything, let it show some life, and redo it. We can see a very strong support trend line here. It tapped off it. So again, is our risk higher? Yeah, you're risking about 10% if it were to crap the bed more. And it's still downtrending, don't get me wrong, it's still downtrending. But this is a very good life right here. You can use the POC as your stop loss and as your support. It was oversold. It has a lot of room to run. Stochastic low, a lot of room to run. Vortex, a lot of room to run. So again, this is a huge possibility. But with this 200 being broken, which it hadn't for a long time, and with the risk being high, an intermediate trader who I believe and I trust in would make a great play on this. A beginner could lose their shirt, so avoid it. And last is stamp.com, STMP. We called it over here. I was like, hey, don't buy it. Let it hit the bottom. And that thing hit the bottom. You know what happened? It jetted off for almost 10%. Am I like impressed with that? No, given the full price action. But we're down here now. What happens at the POC, y'all? Consolidation. 15 days down here, over here, even off the screen. More than 15 days. We're down here now. Is this going to take some time? I would assume as much. But for a long-term hold with a very low risk. I mean, like, this thing craps the bed. 6%. Oh my god. But you're going to make 12 and probably on a full move close to 30 over a long period of time. 5 to 1 on a long-term hold is a great pickup. There's definitely some downtrending trend lines in here somewhere where you can definitely do this and duplicate it and come down and see. Okay, there's definitely some form of downtrend happening. And so is this the best price? No, but it's a good bounce. If it does come down to this trend line over here, we'll buy in over there. But that's not the play right now. The play is we want to see it reverse and go up. So STMP, a good pickup. Not great. Intermediate traders, I would trust for a good long-term hold. And there you guys have it. Our 9 great stocks, our 8 good intermediate trader stocks. I'm sure with the 45-minute video, some of y'all watch 10 to 15 minutes. Some of you watch the whole thing. That's great. This is by far one of the best watch listing channels, one of the best deep dive technical analysis every single day. If you enjoy this kind of content, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Again, I don't push it. I'm gonna probably cap the Discord sooner than later. And if you didn't get in, you didn't get in, and you gotta wait for the next one to open up. If you enjoy this kind of content, you want some deep dive stuff, again, check out the Discord. No pressure at all. I'm not the kind of businessman to be like, you must join. I'll be here. You want to have the relationship online with me just through YouTube? Fantastic. You want to look into some deeper stuff? Also fantastic. With that being said, have a good Sunday. Please, on the last note, do not get overexcited. There's plenty of indexes you should watch, and there's plenty of ones that measure enthusiasm or positivity. And the saying always goes, when folks get bold, you get nervous. When people get nervous, you get bold. And so that played out last week perfectly. And again, if folks get way too euphoric, secure your profits, right? If you did get in on some great plays and they're going up, do not get cocky and get caught again. So be aware of what's going on. Watch QQQ, watch RUT, watch SPY, watch Dash ES, whatever you want to watch. Make sure you have some eyes on some macro levels and set some alerts. With that being said, have a good rest of your Sunday. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.